This is Amanda Sage for ISA 4220, Professor Green's class, spring semester 2017. I'll be going over databases, the technical aspect, and the hardening processes for Windows Server 2012 R2 and Ubuntu Server 16.04.1 LTS. All right, I'm going to begin by going over databases and a technical aspect. I'll be discussing that over the next few slides. A database is a central location in which an assortment of data is stored. Multiple users and applications can simultaneously access, view, and modify data within the database at their pleasure. All databases are managed by database management software, which is also known as DBMS, and the software allows data users and programs to come together and interface with one another within the database. Without database management software, users would not be able to read, nor would they be able to understand the information that they attempt to access, therefore making the database a stagnant and useless entity. Databases also offer an organization of data, which has integrity and data redundancy intact. The integrity of data means that the data is accurate for processing, and the redundancy of data means that the data is stored in more than one place. It is imperative that all information is correct and backed up for an organization to protect itself and to run as efficiently as possible. If by chance the information is incorrect, the organization runs into the risk of losing a customer or to the next extreme of enduring even legal consequences. If the data is not redundant and the database server was destroyed, then all data would be lost, and that can become a detriment to a company and ultimately even shut down a company. Access control restrictions and data manipulation are also a part of database operations. Implementing access control restrictions will protect the database by only allowing authorized users to access the data. The principle of least privilege can be implemented when allowing users to access the database by allowing the user to only access what is necessary for them to perform their daily job duties. Data manipulation allows for the user to sort or arrange data so that it can interpret it into a way that they see fit to perform their duties. My advice is don't be like this guy over to the right. Yes, databases may offer redundancy, but if not implemented properly and you, like him, delete something like the production database, you can disrupt the entire organization's operations, and it makes it run extreme high risk of just coming to a complete stop. This could cost the organization a lot of time and a lot of money to recover, especially if they don't properly back the data up. Also, depending on the severity of your actions, you could possibly lose your job if you're this guy over here to the right. All right, and I'm going to continue to talk about databases on a technical level. There are 5 main database models that are out there. There is relational, hierarchical, network, object-oriented, and object-relational. A relational database uses columns and rows to contain and organize information. This model presents data in table form and is used more than any other database model. Hierarchical uses a logical tree structure. The hierarchical model combines and organizes related records and fields. Although this model is not implemented as much as the relational model is, it was actually one of the first models that were ever created. The next one is the network model. It allows for multiple parent and multiple child records. This model is also built upon the hierarchical model as well. An object-oriented model is a database that is more dynamic and allows for data such as video, pictures, and sound to be stored within it. Object relational is a mixture of the relational database and an object-oriented database. It is a relational database that possesses front-end software that the program is written using object-oriented language. Program interfaces. The first one is database connectivity, which is ODBC. It's a database that allows for local or remote access to an API that allows for communication between an application and a database. Object linking and embedding database is OLEDB. Its data components are separated and ran as middleware on the client side or on the server side. It provides access and low-level interfacing across various databases. ActiveS Data Objects, which is ADO, it's an API that allows back-end access for applications. Java Database Connectivity, which is JDBC. This API allows communication between a Java application and the database itself. I'm going to kind of dig a little bit more into the relational database. It contains a few components. It's got the data definition language, which is DDL. It outlines the database's structure and schematics. Data manipulation language, which is DML, which holds all commands that are required for database use, viewing, and manipulation. Query language, QL, also allows to send requests or allows the users to send requests to the database. And it also has a report generator that allows for data to be printed out. There's a little bit of communication between the tables. You have you have the primary key, which is it's utilized for indexing. Sorry about that. It's utilized for indexing purposes and identifies the row of a table. Whereas then the foreign key works with the primary key. And a foreign key will match up values between two tables if the relationship between them are the same. A data dictionary is reference keys, data element definitions, and the schematic objects that are centrally located in the dictionary. On a large scale, what really these large companies use these massive databases for is data warehousing, data mining, and metadata. And basically data warehousing is when massive amounts of data is pulled from multiple databases so that it can be reported and analyzed, whereas in data mining is the process of pulling down data from large databases and analyzing it to create new information. That newly generated information that is created is from data mining is called metadata. Metadata can then show analysts new relationships and patterns amongst all the gathered information. An example is how Facebook tracks all of your browsing habits so that they may target you with the correct advertisements. A few years ago, Target got into a little trouble for telling women they were pregnant simply based on their purchasing habits. I find it is incredible that in some cases they are right, but when they sent me the email, they were very, very, very wrong. All right, in regards to Postgres QL, it is an object relational open source database system that can be ran on Linux, Unix, Mac OS, Windows, and many, many more. It has been continually developed and improved upon for over 15 years, and due to it being an open source program, it will continue to evolve for years to come. It is well known and commonly implemented due to its reliability, integrity, and correctness. For data to become useful information, it is imperative that databases ensure that the information or the data is reliable, that it has integrity, and that it is correct. It has various data types, which I have listed here: numeric, Boolean, char, date, interval, a few more. It stores large pictures and videos, so it has that ability to do that. It is features and standards compliant, which is very beneficial when the auditors make their rounds in the larger corporations, especially whenever it comes to financial corporations, because they get really hit hard with auditing. Programming interfaces is C and C++, Java, .NET, Perl, Python, Ruby, TCL, ODBC. Max database size is unlimited. The max table size is 32 terabytes, whereas in the row size is 1.6 terabytes. Field size is up to 1 gig. Max row per table is unlimited. Max columns per table is anywhere between 250 to 1,600 based on the size of your database and what you're needing. Max index per table is unlimited. All right, hardening that PostgreSQL. First and foremost, just like everything else we have discussed this semester thus far, you want to keep that program up to date, make sure all patches are put into place. If not, that leaves your database extremely vulnerable. You also want to create user roles. You want super users and you want regular users. You want to implement the least privilege or the principle of least privilege. Reason being you want least privilege there is you don't want users accessing information that they have no business looking at or having access to. You want to remove the public schematics. You want to remove that from public eye. You want to use the AAA model, which is authentication, authorization, and auditing. If possible, you want to use a virtual private desktop to limit direct exposure to those databases. You want to use parameterized queries. This is so you can aid in preventing a SQL attack. You want to also encrypt your databases, and you want to do some data masking. And data masking is basically putting some unauthenticated data in there that kind of strays any attackers away from the golden nugget you're trying to protect.